As digital marketing experts, we know the value of content. And if you've been blogging consistently, you're already sitting on a treasure trove of content. Why let that valuable content sit idle when you could repurpose it into a book? That's a pretty novel thought, if you ask me. There are a lot of reasons why you might want to consider writing a book. I've thought about writing a book myself over the years, but it wasn't until I met Jen Foster, my guest today, that I seriously started thinking about how it could fit into an overall marketing strategy. A book can help amplify your brand authority, it can generate additional revenue, and can humanize your brand. You can even use the book to boost your brand's overall visibility by attracting media attention and unlocking speaking opportunities for yourself. In this episode, I'm going to talk to Jen Foster about writing a book and how it could be an important part of your marketing strategy. Jen Foster is a Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and #1 international best-selling author, one of today's national leading digital marketing specialists, an award-winning web designer, and the recipient of the esteemed Quilly Award. She is the owner of Elite Online Publishing, as well as the founder and CEO of Social Marketing. Jen, one of the reasons why I connected with Jen is because she is dedicated to helping business owners like you boost their revenue and catapult their visibility to become business influencers. So let's get started and learn about how you could write a book and propel your marketing and take it to the next level. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market podcast. I'm glad you're here. On this podcast, I talk about everything related to digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO, PPC, email marketing, social media, analytics, and everything in between. So if you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, and you want to get yourself up to speed on digital marketing related topics, this is the place for you. So like and share my videos, subscribe to my videos, and every other week you'll be receiving fresh new content that will help you grow your business by helping you improve your digital marketing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Welcome, Jen. I'm glad you're able to make some time for this. I know you're very busy, and as we've connected over the last few months, I've just been really curious about your background and also your book publishing and things like that, and how you help people publish a book and help them with their marketing. So you want to maybe get started with just maybe your background a little bit and maybe something I might have missed?
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. And yeah, I think you covered most of it in the bio.
Okay.
But yeah, I started out doing web design for a company. We had a retail store. And then I wanted people to find that website. So I learned some SEO tricks and some marketing tools, some video marketing, and did that for a while. And then in 2015, we started the book publishing company by doing a book writing retreat on the beach.
Okay.
We called it Hot Chicks Write Hot Books on the Beach. It was kind of fun.
So it's just yourself? You have a partner,
I have
right?
a business partner.
Okay,
She's down in Houston, Melanie Johnson. She used to own some TV stations down there in Houston and Dallas.
Okay.
And so we connected at a marketing conference in San Diego.
Okay.
And we decided to do a book writing retreat, and that turned into a book publishing company. So we've had Elite Online Publishing now for 10 years. This will be our 10th year.
Congratulations.
Yeah, really excited. We're doing a special in June. We're going to do 10% off all of our products for 10 years in business.
Wow. That's awesome.
For 10 days. So it's going to be fun.
So, I mean, that's kind of what attracted me to the concept is who should write a book? I mean, because you think about it, right? I mean, you have all these famous people that write books, or you have maybe business leaders that have maybe, done amazing things, write books, but who, in your opinion, should write a book?
Yeah, I mean, I believe anyone who wants to be noticed, who wants to be recognized, should write a book.
Okay.
When you look at all of the celebrities, for instance, or even, there's a woman that I follow, Jamie Lee Kerma. I can't ever say her name right. Jamie Kerma. Anyway, she developed a cosmetic line called It Cosmetics.
Okay.
And right after she sold it for like millions of dollars, the first thing she did was write a book.
Okay, amazing.
So because she needs to be recognized now as that authority of of this, right? So because of that, she has her own podcast show. She just had Oprah on her podcast.
Oh, wow.
Like, so because of her book, she like positioned herself. Of course, her selling her company positioned herself
I know.
too.
Yeah.
But, you know, that book really told everyone else. And then
Yeah.
she did the book tour and went on Tony Robbins and everything, you know, so everyone could know who she was.
Wow. Okay. So I guess we got to distinguish, right? Sometimes when you think of book, you think of, you know, you write a biography or you tell your story or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
From a business owner perspective, because I laid the intro by saying if you've got a lot of blog posts
Yeah.
and you've been writing a lot for your business, how do you turn that into a book? So how does that fit into like maybe an overall marketing strategy or maybe a personal brand or something like that?
Yeah, well, the thing is when you have a business and you want to be recognized, you have all these blog posts, you have all this content, you have social media posts, you might even be speaking, right? So you have a speech.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are content that you could put into a book,
Right.
right? Most of the time when you hear a professional speaker, it's like a chapter out of their book, right?
Okay.
Or they should have a book if they don't have one, right? If they're a professional speaker. But I feel like if you can take that content, why rewrite something when you've already have the content out there? Why not take all your content, put it in a book, and then fill in the holes with more stories, more examples, more ideas, and from your knowledge into the book?
That makes sense. That makes sense. So how does one go about that? That's what you help people with, right? I mean, that's you want to walk us through maybe the process that people would go through, because it seems daunting to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a 250-page book and you're like, wow, they must have. You think of some nerdy guy sitting in their library for 30 days at a
Right.
time writing a book, right? How does one? Because we're all busy, right? I mean,
Yeah,
the
we're all
idea of
very
writing a
busy.
book sounds daunting.
Yeah. Yeah, it does sound daunting at first, but the truth is that everything is in your head, right? So I actually didn't write any of my books. I talked all of my books.
Okay.
And you might not understand what that means, but there's a tool that's been out there forever, way before ChatGPT and AI, called Otter, Otter. Before that, there was Dragon software and all this other software that you could record your voice and it transcribes it in real time. So we use Otter.ai, Otter. And I've been talking my books for many years now. That's how we did our book writing retreat. We actually recorded videos of them talking their books. We asked them questions, interviewed them, and then we transcribed it and turned it into a book.
Interesting. And how long is that process?
You can get it done within a weekend.
Really?
It's really about making sure you have the right outline, making sure you know who you're writing to, what the purpose of the book is. So we actually do a VIP day where people will go through the whole process and we'll get a third of the book written in like 8 hours.
Okay, that's interesting.
6 to 8 hours. Yeah.
So there's a lot of editing though that goes in the back end, right?
Yeah, well, you got to after the transcription's done, then you've got to, edit it, get an editor, maybe a book coach to help you kind of get that going. But it can go pretty fast, especially now with AI tools that are available. It can go pretty quick.
So do you help with people like me that ramble on and on and on? I mean, because I say a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just keep going, and then I have to insert, old man quote there because old man rant. When I'm talking to my kids, especially /old man rant /end old man rant, only programmers will understand that. But but so you help with that, like you hone in the message and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we have lots of book coaches and editors that kind of help too with that and help you to realize, what should stay in the book, what should come out. But I always like to tell the story of the minimalist. I'm sure you guys have heard of the minimalist. They came out with a book, probably like 2000. I don't know what year it was, maybe 2010 or something like that. But they took that book and they did a book tour and they turned that book tour into a documentary. So you can watch their documentary on Netflix called The Minimalist. And their principle and the way they created their book was they were bloggers and they had a bunch of blogs and they just put them in the book. And I remember when I first started reading the book, it says right in the beginning, these are just our blog posts. Like they didn't edit them. They just put them in order, like based on, I don't know if it was chronological. I can't remember, or if they did it in like.
And it's sold?
Oh yeah.
If they have a documentary.
Oh yeah. And then they did a documentary about the documentary. So they have a book too now. So, you can do so many things with just starting with your blogs.
So what kind of content works well then? Because that's a great segue, because I was thinking like a lot of the clients I've worked with, for instance, I have a lot of veterinarians and I have a lot of dentists and I have a lot of manufacturing companies that I've blogged. I mean, sometimes I feel like the content that they produce is more transactional, like time sensitive content. So talk a little bit about what kind of content, if you're a business owner and you're thinking about writing a book, what kind of content would work well?
Yeah, well, I love our strategic writing system. This is a book that we came out with last year. But the thing that I always like to do, and I learned from our mentor, is to come up with the top 10 frequently asked questions.
Top 10 frequently asked questions.
You might already have that in your blog posts, right? But you expand on those. So you come up with your top 10 frequently asked questions and then come up with your top 10 should ask questions.
Should ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's something that someone should ask you. If they only knew this, they would ask you that. Does that make sense?
Got it. Okay.
Like if they were educated and knew more about what you really do,
yeah,
they would ask
that
a
makes
different
sense.
question,
That
right?
makes sense, yeah.
So once you've come up with all those questions, then you come up with examples and stories. So then you can, that's 20 chapters right there. You don't need that many. You probably only need
20 chapters seems
10
a
or
lot.
12.
Yeah,
So-
12, 15, yeah.
So then you can kind of minimize that or combine them and give examples and stories for each one. And they don't have to be your story, especially there's a lot of people will write a book because they're trying to get noticed for a new thing they're doing, right?
Okay.
And so when they do that, then you might be using other people's stories, other people's examples, not your own.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's an interesting way. And then how do you so you've talked about the process and you've talked about the content that works well. What can you expect? Let's say, so you put the book together, you've gone through this process. I know I talked a little bit in the intro about brand authority, generating additional revenue and things like that. How do you guys help with that? Or then there's a whole process of publishing a book. So I know that's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Maybe you can pick one or two and then let's kind of work through it.
Well, let's start with like the ROI of a book. So if it's a nonfiction book, you really do need to have a purpose behind the book. If you're using it as a business tool to get leads, you really want to have that call to action in the beginning and the end, or maybe even after every chapter, right? I'm sure you've read those books where it's like, check out my video at the end of every chapter that explains more, gives more detail. But the truth is that you want to have that bigger ticket item, because selling a $10 book or a $20 book, you got to sell a lot of books to make a lot of money, right?
You got to sell a lot.
So, I think it was, what was it? Jack Canfield, he says, when he sold his Chicken Soup for the Soul, he says, I had to think of how am I going to sell 1 million books? Then he thought, because he only made $1 a book.
Really? That's wow.
When you hear his story, he says, I saw the National Enquirer and I thought, oh, they have 1 million readers. I'll get it in there. And then he could make $1 million on his book. But he only made $1. Now, we help people self-publish, so you make more than $1, but you're not going to make $1 million unless you get 1 million readers, right? So,
right.
So in order to get more ROI, you really got to have that call to action and a bigger ticket item to sell, or you're speaking, or you have something else, a course or something like that. We had a woman who had a digital training course on how to teach moms how to leave their jobs and stay home and work from home like freelance. And she had a digital course, but she used her book to get people to the digital course.
Interesting.
And within the first week, she would do like the onboarding coaching calls with all the new people. And she'd say, where did you find our course? And it was from her book the first week.
But it's also like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, in a way, right? Because you got to get the book out now, right?
Yes.
So you got to get that book out.
Yeah.
You might not need 1 million, even if you need to get it to, let's say, 10,000 or 5,000, 4,000. That's kind of challenging.
Yeah. So that's the first thing we do. Like we say we're a publishing company, but we're really a marketing agency as well, because we want to help you get your list together. We want to help you know how to market the book when it comes out, right? We're not the type of publisher where we just say, oh, we're going to format your book, put a book cover on it, and put it up on Amazon, and good luck, bye.
Okay.
It's like, okay, let's have an actual marketing strategy. Let's figure out how we're going to get it a bestseller within the first 24 to 48 hours. Let's make sure it has the right call to action. Let's make sure you have that list for that 24 to 48 hours, including our list, so that we can boost it on the first day it's out.
Right. So really, just to kind of summarize what you're talking about. So you don't just write a book and think that, that itself is going to, by itself is going to promote and make you the ROI. You need to really have something behind it that people can go to from the book to buy, I don't know. I mean, your course, your services, your products, whatever it is, get more speaking opportunities, things like that. So, and if somebody comes to you and says they want to write a book, do you ask those questions to kind of make sure they have all of that in place before you just write a book for them?
Yeah. I mean, and during the VIP day, if they do the VIP day, we'll go through the whole, who the book is for, what the purpose of the book is. And it can be part of your story. It can be part of your memoir, right? but it needs to have that purpose. Now, there's lots of reasons to write a book, and maybe it isn't ROI, maybe it isn't to grow your business, right? Maybe it is just to share the message. But at the same point, you still want to have that goal, because if you don't have that plan, then of where you want to be, it's not going to ever get there, right?
Right. It's not like you're writing a novel. It's like a novel sells itself. I'm assuming. I mean,
we all hope we're J.K. Rowling and we write a novel and it just goes. But, but her story is actually a slow one too. It wasn't just overnight that she started making millions and there was movies, right? Like she had a lot. It was a process. So
nobody gets there on the first. I mean, unless you win the lottery. Even lottery players, they play a lot before they win. I used to work on the Arizona lottery account back in Arizona, and those winners, man, they're playing for years before they actually win it. So and only one out of so many million wins. So
not to be discouraging, but they say the average book only sells 250 copies in the lifetime of the book. So I was just interviewing someone on our podcast. We have a podcast called Elite Expert Insider, and he was saying he sold his 10,000th copy, but his book's been out for, I think, 12 years, something like that. Wow. But that's really good, right?
That is good. That is really good.
And he said he didn't do that much marketing, but, that's great. But just think of if you were marketing or if you already had the buyers. When you think of all the New York Times bestsellers, a lot of those books do naturally get there organically, but some of them are New York Times bestsellers like the first 2 weeks that they're out because they already decided, hey, here's the 10,000 people that are going to buy this book, or here's the stores that they're going to be in,
Talk a little bit about those strategies, because I know, getting on that Amazon bestseller list is important, right? And then the New York Times bestsellers list. How do you guys help with that, or how does that whole thing work?
Well, New York Times is editorial, so even if you sold, it's 10 to 20,000 copies in 1 week. Even if you did that, you're not guaranteed to be on the list.
They have to read it and like it.
Yeah, the people who make the final decisions have to maybe know someone kind of thing. But the Wall Street Journal and USA Today list, it's 7 to 10,000 copies in a week. And so a lot of that strategy is making sure you have enough books sold in that time period, right? How we do the Amazon bestseller list, it's a little bit different. And Wall Street Journal's paused right now. They don't have a list.
Oh, they don't? Okay.
Yeah, but USA Today still does. Okay. And there's a couple other ones out there. But Amazon's different because Amazon wants to show you in real time what's the best-selling thing. Like if you go searching for cameras, it's going to tell you what camera is selling the best right now, right? They say they update it every hour, but it's probably more like 3 hours to 12 hours.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
And then depending on the time of year, if it's Black Friday or any of those type of sales, it's going to be 2 days or something before it shows. Like the ranking on books, it takes a while sometimes.
Okay. That's not just for is that for everything?
It's for everything.
For everything, okay.
Yeah. So people who sell, Amazon products, or they're selling salt and pepper shakers or something, there's the ranking on that salt and pepper shaker. It'll say it's a bestseller because it's selling the most at that time or on that day or in that week. Okay. Yeah.
And so basically, do they give you a title saying Amazon bestseller logo after you've achieved a certain amount, and you can use that, or can anybody say they're an Amazon? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because there's a few other publishers out there who actually tell you that you're a bestseller and you're not. So there's actually a couple lists on Amazon, and it's separate for each category. And that's why with the products on Amazon, it's separate for each category. So you've got Kindle bestsellers, which is just the Kindle ebooks. You have book bestsellers, which is just the books, like paperback, hardcover. Okay. You have audiobook bestsellers, which are just audiobooks. Like they have a list for each one. Okay. And then within each one of those is categories, right? So, I mean, I always tell our authors, we don't put you in basket weaving and make you number one, unless your book's about basket weaving, right? So we want to put you in the right category for your book, and then we want to get as many people to buy it as possible in that 24 to 48 hours so that you can get that number one bestseller. Now, besides the bestseller list, they have a thing called a hot new release list. Okay. So a hot new release list, we've seen a few publishers that'll just take screenshots of that and say, you're a bestseller. Well, technically, you're a hot new release list, number one, or number whatever number you are. So you want to be on both. You want to be in the hot new release list and the bestseller list. A hot new release list, if you just sell one book in your category, you're on it. So you could be a hot new release that day.
That day, right. Yeah. You could be.
Bestseller, it depends on the category. So we helped Shawnee Henderson. She's a former wife of Shaquille O'Neal. And we helped her. She was with Simon & Schuster, and she didn't have a bestseller status. So we helped her get number one with her book. And it was it was kind of hard because she was competing with Whoopi Goldberg at the time.
Oh, wow. Those are some
So,
big names,
so we helped her with some value stack and some marketing ideas at an event for her to get as many sales as she needed. And she needed, I think, 1,400 that day to get number one in her category.
Okay, interesting.
So, and if it's stretched out over a week, she's never going to hit number one, right? So she had sold a lot of books when we started working with her. It just wasn't in a small amount of time.
So basically, if you were writing a book and you want to get that Amazon bestseller thing, you need to have already contacted people that are going to buy your book, and they have to go in on the same day, at least within a certain period of time, to buy the book. And then Amazon gives them that status, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, what we like to do is help people come up with their book launch team. And we have a whole mini course about it. And then we do it when we work with our authors one-on-one. And we help you with the book launch team. And we're really sending an email out like probably a month before, week before, day of, right? And you can send more than that. It's just, you're sending emails, you're sending texts, you're really marketing and pushing it.
You're just saying buy the book, or is it coming out?
Yeah, well, when you first start getting your launch team, you really want those dedicated people, right? Okay. It's kind of like when we call it the wedding list.
Oh, okay.
So,
got it.
Like when you have a wedding and you have the list of people who you want to come to the wedding, and then you have the people who just want to come to the reception or maybe just know about the wedding.
Yeah.
But those people who come to the wedding, they're going to show up for you. They're going to be there for you, right? They're going to, because we want them to buy the book, read the book, and leave a review.
Right. That's the other thing.
Because if you just buy it and they never open it, like what's the purpose, right?
Okay, so that's interesting. So how many so if I was to write a book, then I'd need to make a list of those people and give it to you with their email address?
Well, yeah, or we actually just help you do it and help you with your own CRM because we want you to own your IP.
So then I would do the outreach.
Yeah, but we would do the emails, help you with that.
Okay, got it.
Guide you along the way so that you do it right.
You do. Okay, got it. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite a process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so how long does this whole thing take? Like, let's say I want to write a book. Part of my issue is, and I've mentioned this to you, is I've wanted to write a book on digital marketing, but it changes so much.
Yeah.
It's like, even if I put all my notes, because I gave a 7-hour presentation at the Southwest Convention, at the Southwest Veterinary Symposium last fall, I put together 7 hours of information, right? And I would say 35% of that now is outdated.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the stuff I talked about.
Yeah. I think it was 11 years ago I wrote Video Marketing for Professionals. And nothing in that book is relevant anymore because YouTube changed the date, like the next year.
So what about what does somebody like me do then? Like, my expertise is in something that is changing so much.
Well, I think that's the book you write. You write the book about how digital marketing changes so much.
Okay,
right. You got your stories in there. You've got your examples and your successes, right?
Right.
Of the people that you've helped, and then talking about what's coming in the future because people want to know your expertise. You know more than I do on what's going to happen on SEO or what the Google algorithms are. We were talking about it yesterday about the algorithms are changing. I can't say that word algorithms.
Yeah.
They're changing all the time. So people want to know, right? We have a friend of ours who used to do a book every year, and he'd have it the same title, just add the year to it.
Oh, really?
So I think he's a podcaster. So back in the day, it was like podcasting for 2015, podcasting for 2016, podcasting for 2017.
I always wondered about those. Like you see those on, the trends, and I was like, wow, you wrote a book on this for this year? Okay, I get it.
But a lot of times you can, because you're self-publishing, you could actually replace the content. So you wouldn't actually put the year in the title, but you'd put it in the description,
right?
And change the cover. It's on the cover, but not in the title, right?
Got it.
But that way you can just resubmit the content each time. But if the content changes more than I think it's like a third or something, then you want a new book.
Okay, got it. Interesting. I got to think through this a little bit more. I've thought about it. So for people that might have maybe started listening and realize, how about fiction? You don't help anything with fiction?
We do actually. We do children's books and fiction. It's just a different marketing strategy, right? There's different ways to make money with children's books and fiction books. I actually have a children's book series that I have out there, an animal fact series for beginner readers.
Because you're an author, a children's book author too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're helping a woman right now do a book specifically for Boca Grande, Florida. So it's the ABCs of Boca Grande, which is an island and beautiful place in Florida.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful illustrated book. But she has purpose already behind it. It's going to be locally there in different stores. She has merch ideas already that she's going to do. Okay. Trademarking the characters and stuff like that. So there's a lot to it. Fiction books are also different. We've published a few of those, but it's really about, who your readers are, who your audience is, and if you want to do book tours or not, or if you just want to put it up there and say, I'm a published author, right?
Right. That's cool. So it's kind of going back to a little bit because something just popped in my brain in terms of so people, when you say you're a Amazon bestseller, does that how often does that open doors for you? Or do people just know the game and realize, oh, another Amazon bestseller? How prestigious is it?
I believe it's prestigious. There's a lot of people who say, well, everyone's a bestseller now. But the truth is if you want to be on TV, if you want to be on podcasts, if you want to be on the bigger podcasts, they want to see your book. They want to see that you're a bestseller, right?
Okay.
And if you don't have a book, they might not have you on the podcast, right?
Right.
I mean, even 10 years ago when we started our podcast, when we were looking for people to interview, we wanted people with a book because then we had more to talk about than we knew they were the expert because they wrote the book on it, right? So I think a book really does show that you have prestige. I mean, look at even the big CEOs. The guy who was the CEO of Disney.
Bob Iger.
Yeah, he wrote a book. It came out pretty much the same year that he became CEO of Disney.
Okay.
Because it positioned him. People were like, "Who is this guy?" Let me read his book.
Yeah. There's so many books to read.
I know.
Are people actually reading these books?
That's why audiobooks are great for people like us who are really busy. Yeah. So they can be on the treadmill or in our car listening.
Yeah, listening to it. Yeah, yeah. So how do they get a hold of you, Jen? I mean...
Yeah, they can find us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. You can fill out an author submission form if you want to be an author, and we can help you get your book published and to bestseller. Of course, you can contact us if you want to be on our podcast. You can check us out at Elite Expert Insider. It's everywhere podcasts are. We also have Elite Publishing Podcast. If we started a few years ago, that talks specifically about publishing.
Okay. All right. Well, you're an online marketer, so punching in your name, you're going to find you'll find Jen Foster everywhere. You know what I mean? LinkedIn.
And that's the whole purpose, right? You want to be recognized. So if someone's, I have to compete. There's Jen Foster's pretty common name.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to live in a different country with that name, like me.
Shyless, I think is a little bit easier for people to find. But there's a music artist that I compete with on Google. So if you type in Jen Foster, she comes up. But if you do Jen Foster author or Jen Foster SEO, I come up.
That's good. That's what you're known for. So that's awesome.
That's what I'm known for.
Yeah.
But that's what I ranked myself for, right?
Right.
But the cool thing is when you do have a book, Google will give you a little author profile on the side because it'll show your Amazon page and stuff like that. And that's one of our, I always say, if you're an author already and you don't have an Amazon author page, then you need to get one. You just have to claim it. But that will help you rank on Google and help you with that author profile when people type in your name on Google.
Awesome. Wow.
And now with ChatGPT, because they're just going to be pulling content from online too.
Yeah. Well, I'll put all the show notes and I'll put all your details in my show notes and things like that. And I think you were going to give
Yeah, we can give away this book, the Elite Online Publishing Strategic Writing System. I'll have a link in the show notes. You can just click it and you can read the book online or download it and you can start writing your book today.
There you go. And well, we want you to work with Jen. So call her up and she's amazing. It's been great learning about book publishing. And for me, from a marketing standpoint, it just makes sense, to kind of connect that with your overall marketing strategy because 15, 20 years ago, I remember walking into the CEO of the company I was working for. She invited me into her office to talk about something. And I knew she was big, right? I mean, she's the CEO and everything like that. But then she had her book right there. And I thought, wow, she's bigger than I thought, So that impression really stuck with me. And ever since then, I was like, wow, when do I get to write my book? So it's kind of interesting. So I'm not quite ready right now, but at some point I'm pretty sure I'm going to write a book. So,
that's good.
So I'll be working with you on that one at some point.
Good. Well, we actually have a book coming out in the fall called Be Recognized. So it's almost finished writing it. We're almost done. We have a few stories to add. And then we're going to be putting that out. And it's about the AI authority engine and how you can be recognized in your field So it's a really good book. I'm excited for it to come
That's
out.
cool. So lots of good stuff coming up. So thank you, Jen, for making time to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you want to, don't forget to connect with Jen. So with that, we'll just kind of wrap up right here. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, share, follow, and connect with Jen. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.